Hello and welcome back to another video. So this video we're going to be doing another Warband review. Apparently not very popular with people, but I enjoy doing them, so that's a little bit of fun. Warriors of Beastgrave, so we are going to be doing Ironsoul's Condemnors. I used them today in a battle report, which you will see if these are recorded and released in the right order this Saturday. So Ironsoul's Condemnors. Before we begin, if you'd like to see more videos like this one, please hit the subscribe button and destroy the bell button so that you never miss an upload. Anyway, let's carry on. So, Gwen Ironsoul is a formidable agent of the Sacrosanct Chambers. Ironsoul and her companions Tavian and Tavian of Sarnassus, good gosh, and the redoubtable Brodus Blightbane are secretors of the Hammers of Sigmar, first and most storied of the God King Sigmar storm hosts. These specialists channel their magical tempest of Azir through their weapons. They are trained to battle the ethereal and the demonic, but after straying within the bounds of Dreadfane, they may have even found their match. Sorry about this. They are long sought a way to shatter its mechanisms and free themselves from its cruel grasp, and believed that their quest successful when they finally set foot in the blood-soaked caverns of Gur. Alas, Beastgrave would soon prove to be just another trap. So, why don't we start with this guy? Tavian of Sarnassus. Sarnassus? Yeah, that's what we're going with. So Tavian is actually not too bad, in my opinion. So he has 2 attacks. And the way he inspires is the same as everyone else, so I might as well cover that now. This fighter's attack roll or defense roll contains 1 or more criticals. So if you're going off on the attack, you can get any crits, you get the inspire. Basically, really simple, not explicitly easy. You can play a full game without rolling any criticals, which is frustrating to say the least. However, it's doable. They're not terrible in their basic form, I think. So, 2 range 1 attacks. One of them swinging 3 hammers, so very likely to go off and does 2 damage, decent. And one of them swinging 2 hammers and doing 1 damage, but it does have knockback 1, so you can knock them back twice. Well, two ways. When he inspires Tavian of Sarnassus, Tavian inspired, he does 2 damage still, and his shield rush does 2 damage instead of 1, and it has knockback 2. Shield rush: when an enemy fighter is driven back by this attack, push this fighter the same direction as that drive back into the hex adjacent to that fighter. So you can attack them and chase them. Basically, you can knock them back as much as you wish, practically, as an attack action. So if you charge, obviously you can move into them, but you're not really going to be able to keep swinging. You can knock them back and keep chasing them back, basically, which is handy, especially if someone has moved or charged and they can't do anything about it. Let's have a look at Brodus. Brodus Blightbane. Brodus Blightbane is pretty much one of your big heavy lifters. To be fair though, Tavian is not to be sniffed at. He swings 2 hammers, does 3 damage, initially starts with knockback 1, which is handy. This fighter contains rule of crit. Yeah, so we've already covered that. I should mention that the other guy's also got 1 shield and 4 wounds, 3 moves, a basic star. Stormcast. My speaking is off worse than normal today. And when inspired, I do believe they got 2 shields on everyone. So let's have a look at Brodus. Brodus the Beefcake. Same thing, but he also has cleave and knockback 2, so you can send him flying and cut in half, or he has the channeled blow, which is cleave and scything, so this guy is actually quite brutal, in my opinion. He has 2 shields, can move 4 when he's inspired, and still has 4 wounds, so this guy is definitely a bit of a well, beefcake, to be honest. Brodus Inspired is pretty much really good. There's nothing bad about him, especially if you can do 2 damage to a horde. You could kill a couple of little weaklings, like little rats or something, in one swing, basically, which is very handy. Let's go to Gwendolyn, as I like to call her, also known as Gwyn, or Gwen. So we're going to go with Gwyn. Gwyn. She swings 3 hammers, 2 damage, 4 wounds, 1 shield. So really simple, to be fair, when she starts off. Nothing special, but she is quite a good hitter, to be fair. She then gains knockback 1, and she swings 3 damage, does 3 damage. If there are 1 or more criticals in the attack roll for this attack action, the attack action has knockback 2. These guys are really good at pushing people off objectives, I suppose, and just playing keep away with you guys. So the downside is if you're going up against people who can do shooting ranged attacks like 3s, you're gonna knock them back and then they can still attack you. However, it does keep away aggro warbands, so that's what these guys seem to be built for. However, the inspiration technique doesn't always work, so it's not a bought and paid for kind of thing. It's not guaranteed. See if this gives us any tactics. It does. Ironsoul's Condemnors excel at direct frontline combat with their foes. Like other Stormcast Eternals warbands, they're durable and pack a punch, letting them go toe-to-toe with most enemies in the game while barely taking a scratch in return. A suite of invaluable ploys and upgrades make them even deadlier, allowing them to tackle tough targets and with super reliable attacks. Each fighter is excellent in their own right, while being specialised to tackle certain types of foes. Gwen Ironsoul's super reliable attacks, making her a great for countering enemies, good gosh, capable of throwing loads of defense dice at you, while Brodus Blightbane gains both cleave and saving when inspired, making him incredible at clearing out hordes of smaller fighters, as we've already mentioned, and tougher choices alike. Meanwhile, Tavian of Sonarsis is good at driving back enemies and can even follow them up as he does, letting you take ground while keeping the pressure on. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Here we go, tips and tricks. Here we go. With Ironsoul's Condemnors, you're going to want to play as aggressively as possible right out of the gate. You'll want to spend your first few activations getting stuck in. The sooner your fighters inspire, the longer you'll get to take advantage of their improved characteristics. That's the same with everyone though. Even getting attacked can work in your favour. Enemies looking to chip away at you risk powering you up in return. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't try and play smart with your activations. You always have at least 1 spare to consider when moving then attacking rather than always charging. So that's the thing. I mean, because they're not super fast like most Stormcast peoples, they do suffer from the run-in, and then so you can move 3. So you charge 3 and you attack. If you fail, I mean, even if you hit and you just like don't really do much in that regard, you're kind of left open. So my advice with these guys is if you get to choose, unless there's a specific reason why, you shouldn't aim to be the first one going, because then you can get them to come to you. Obviously, yeah, not super reliable in my advice in that respect, but the thing about these guys is I don't think they have a super amount of glory to be had in their objective deck. So I think the most is probably like 2, maybe 3 at the most, but they expect you to be getting most of your glory from attacking and killing principally, which is frustrating, I suppose. Basically, yes, but they are pretty good, so they can kill some, like especially Gwendolyn on her first uninspired thing. You can do can kill a guy, and so can Brodus, depending on who you're going against. So spoiler alert, we played against Hrothgars or Hrothgi or whatever it's called, the man trappers, and I think it was Brodus who ran in, charged, and did 3 damage out of the gate, leaving him reeling for the next couple of turns. Not to go and spoil it any further than that, but needless to say, Brodus did earn his keep, I think, at that point, in my opinion. But, you know, each to their own. I think that's pretty much the video ended. I think these guys are good. They are tough and overpowered. However, the Inspire mechanic don't focus too much on the Inspire mechanic. Although I think some of their objectives are based around the fact that it's going to assume that you're going to easily inspire, which you don't always. Because if you run in and you charge, then they're left doing nothing all round. And yeah, it's tricky. It's tricky, is all I'll say. I'm not sure exactly how these guys work. I think I should do a review on the other ones, but my clear favourites out of the Dreadfane boxer, or Champions of Dreadfane, which is the one I got, is the Lady Harrow's Mournflight. Are pretty good. I will end the video there. These are pretty strong, in my opinion. I think definitely nothing to be sniffed at, and being Stormcast, if you've already got Stormcast, well, to be fair, if you can get the cards, these guys was in the that magazine thing, so if you can get the cards from somewhere, you've already got a Warband for like £2 basically. Again, pretty good. Anyway, I'm just rambling again like normal, so I'm going to end the video here, and I will say, catch you again next time.